I put this in the camp of compact inverter generators that are made for people who care about clean power and quiet operation more than raw brute force. If you are a homeowner who wants a realistic backup plan for a fridge, a furnace fan, and internet gear, or you travel with a recreational vehicle and need to run an air conditioner without getting side-eye from the next campsite, or you just want a flexible power source for tailgates and outdoor projects, this sits right in that sweet spot. On the outside, it looks like a piece of rolling luggage with attitude. The molded housing is tough, the edges do not feel flimsy, and the side panels line up cleanly after you open them for maintenance. The telescoping handle locks with a firm click, and the built-in wheels are small but smooth on concrete and packed dirt. I can drag it across a patio or a driveway with one hand, and I can lift it into a car with two hands without feeling like I am wrestling gym equipment. The front control area is simple and uncluttered. The start button is big, the choke and fuel selectors are obvious, and the outlets are spaced far enough apart that larger plugs do not fight for space. There is a dedicated outlet for a recreational vehicle that supplies 30 amperes, which is a big deal if you camp. The universal serial bus ports are placed where short cables do not snag. The fuel cap is grippy and easy to open with gloves. The only thing that gets annoying is the oil fill angle. It is tucked a bit low, so I use the included funnel and a towel under it to catch the stray drip. Not a deal breaker, but worth knowing. Setup felt refreshingly normal. Out of the box, I added the included oil, connected the battery lead, put in gasoline for the first start, and it fired up with a single press of the button. I did not have to baby the choke. On a colder morning, I gave it one extra press and a few seconds to settle, then it smoothed out. Switching to propane was just as straightforward. I threaded the hose to a standard tank, turned the valve, flipped the fuel selector, and held the start button. It caught cleanly and idled without the surging I have heard on some cheaper units. The quick touch style layout genuinely makes a difference here. Everything I need to change in day-to-day use sits in one place, so I am not hunting for a hidden switch on the side. What matters most is how it behaves under load. On gasoline, the generator has headroom for startup surges and then settles into a steady hum. I ran my kitchen refrigerator, a modem and router, a bunch of lights and a chest freezer, and the generator did not flinch when the fridge compressor kicked on. With a window air conditioner that draws real startup current, it ramped up smoothly, then calmed down once the compressor settled. On propane, there is a slight drop in peak output, which is normal, but for the same list of essentials, it still handled the job. For a recreational vehicle test, I ran a 13,500 British thermal unit roof air conditioner and a microwave, just not at the exact same time. Staggering those heavy draws is the trick with a generator in this class, and this one makes that balancing act easy because it responds quickly when the load changes. Noise is the part that surprised me most. At idle with economy mode on, standing about 20 feet away, I could talk in a normal voice. At 40 feet, it blended into background noise. When I added a fridge and lights, the tone deepened a bit, but it stayed behind the level of a normal conversation. When the window air conditioner started, yes, the sound rose, but it was more of a short whoosh than a harsh bark. I did one late-night test, and my neighbor on the other side of a wooden fence did not realize it was running until he saw the extension cord in the morning. Fuel flexibility turned out to be more than a convenience. Gasoline gave me the longest single-tank run. During a moderate load evening that included lights, internet, and the fridge, I got roughly 12 to 13 hours before I topped it off. On propane, I love the clean burn and the fact that it stores forever in the tank. I used a standard 20-pound propane cylinder during a grilling weekend. Running the generator through the afternoon for fans, phone charging, and a small blender, the draw on the propane tank barely moved the needle. If I need every bit of starting power, I choose gasoline. If I need easy storage and cleaner operation with less smell, I choose propane. Having both choices in one machine is a big part of why I keep using this. Power quality has been rock solid. My sensitive electronics did not buzz or complain. Laptops charged normally. A television ran without any flickering. The inverter output really does make a difference when the load changes quickly. When I snapped on a miter saw during a garage test, the generator reacted in a smooth ramp instead of a sag and a surge, and lights on the same circuit did not dim. Real-life scenarios are where it earns its keep. During a planned utility shutdown, I set it in the driveway on a flat spot, ran a heavy outdoor cable to a transfer inlet, and kept the fridge cold, the furnace fan moving, and the internet alive. I cooked on a gas range with an electric ignition, watched a movie, and went to bed without staring at the power bar. The generator sipped fuel on economy mode, and when the furnace fan cycled on, the engine responded right away. During a weekend camping trip, I rolled it a short distance from the trailer, connected the 30-ampere cord, and set it to economy mode. Morning coffee, phone charging, and a quick microwave reheat all happened without fuss. Quiet hours were not an issue because it did not drone like an open-frame unit. For a backyard project, I used it to run a shop vac and a circular saw when the outdoor outlets were already tied up. The plug spacing meant both tools fit, and the reset button stayed easy to reach. One specific use case that keeps coming up for me is protecting a deep freeze during summer storms. I wheel the generator into a clear spot with the exhaust pointed away, start it on propane because the tank is always ready, and keep the freezer cold while I manage everything else in the house. Propane means I am not thinking about stale fuel, and the electric start means I am not yanking a pull cord in the rain. That combination takes the stress level way down when I have other things to deal with. There are a few thoughtful touches that stand out over time. The electric start is reliable, and the battery has held a charge between uses, even when it sits for weeks. The economy mode is not just a label. At lighter loads, the engine drops to a comfortable purr, and fuel usage falls in a way I can actually see. The low oil shutoff is there for peace of mind, and I did test it by intentionally waiting too long to change oil during a long weekend. It protected itself and shut down rather than grind away dry. I also appreciate that it is ready to connect in parallel with a second compatible inverter if I ever want more headroom. I have not needed that yet, but the ports are there and labeled clearly. The control panel layout, with every daily touch point grouped together, makes it feel like it was designed by someone who actually uses generators. I do have a couple of nitpicks. There is no built-in fuel gauge on the tank, so I rely on time and load to estimate remaining gasoline. A simple window would save a peek with a flashlight. There is no voltmeter on the panel, so if you like seeing live voltage and frequency, you will need a plug-in meter. The wheels are better than nothing, but a little larger diameter would roll more easily across grass. The oil fill location works fine with patience, though the angle encourages a slow pour and a towel nearby. None of these have stopped me from using it, but they are worth knowing going in. Maintenance has been low effort. I check oil every few uses, I swap it on schedule, and I keep the air filter clean. The housing does a good job keeping dust out, and the side access panels make it easy to get inside without fighting a dozen fasteners. I store it dry when I know it will sit, and I run it on propane often, which keeps things tidy and minimizes gas smell in the garage. I also make a point of placing it outdoors in a well-ventilated area with the exhaust pointed away from people and doors, and I let it cool before I move it. Stepping back, this generator hits a very practical balance. It is strong enough to handle the important stuff, quiet enough to live with, and flexible enough to keep running when one fuel is easier to find than the other. It feels durable without being a chore to move. It starts easily, it responds quickly, and it does not turn every use case into a science project. If you need a whole house solution with large central air and electric stove and dryer, you are shopping in a different category. If you want a dependable, quiet, and flexible power source for a home backup plan, a recreational vehicle, camping, tailgates, or projects, this fits that role extremely well. If you found this video helpful, hit subscribe, drop your questions or your own experiences in the comments, and I will do my best to respond. Thank you for watching.